how was it heading Facebook?
They would say, "ये Facebook है क्या?" And then I jumped to becoming the first female investment partner at SoftBank Vision Fund.
थोड़ा gossip भी दीजिएगा अपने current venture के बारे में.
What we are doing is building the industry standard for verification in this age of AI.
But everyone wants to democratize AI. Why this much spotlight on AI and ML?
Okay, questions तो भी ChatGPT से आए.
मैं co-pilot भी करता हूँ, जीत गए NDTV.
क्या बात? Okay.
Hello and welcome to a very special interview. Actually, it's going to be a chat on the NDTV network, where on the other side मेरे साथ आज है Kirthiga Reddy. She is responsible for one of those platforms जहाँ मैंने अपनी बहुत ज़्यादा digital life spend करी. In fact, one second, mom, dad, वो जो college में back आई थी second year, वो Facebook पे इनकी वजह से था. So Kirthiga, how was it heading Facebook? I mean, out of all other social media platforms, how was Facebook?
Arey, you talked to your mom and dad about your use of the platform. What it reminded me of is my closing interviews when we were hiring for Facebook India used to be with parents, where
Really?
parents would ask me, they would say, "ये Facebook है क्या? Isn't it just a site where people go and have fun and catch up with each other? Is it even a real company? My child has an offer from one of the big IT services companies or the big banks. ये Facebook क्या है? Why should they join Facebook?" And so that's what my closing calls used to be at that point of time.
Around June, July में होगा, because I remember, I think मेरे parents गए थे इस interview में, and I remember my pocket money being cut short. So I remember ये उस time के आसपास होगा. Did you personally ever use this excuse कि it's for work if you were caught on Facebook like someplace inappropriate या जहाँ नहीं करना चाहिए था?
No, they say that there is a time where parents tell the children in what time, don't spend too much time on the phone. But these days there's also a reverse aspect where the children, my kids used to tell me, how much time are you spending on the phone? So it was almost like a reverse parenting. But as you said, it was my job.
But all in good space. You also been very instrumental in battling fake news and all on the platform. So what I feel like is, while there is a share button and there is a forward button, there's no verify button or, like fact check button and all. How severe is this? ये issue कितना severe है?
So two things. One, the issue is very severe. Right?
Right.
There's research that says that for first-time election voters, they encounter fake news, like 79% of those users encounter fake news. So the issue is serious. That said, all of the platforms have really taken account of the seriousness of this matter. And so even if you go to platforms like Meta, they give you, is it a verified source? And they give you alternate views so that you don't get into a filter bubble. So the platforms have responded through the real issue that fake news is.
It's a handshake. I mean, two hands have to come together. It's a handshake. वो दोनों को करना पड़ जाएगा.
बिल्कुल.
अच्छा, ये Facebook हो गया. फिर आप एक big ticket investor भी बन गए. अब आप big ticket entrepreneur भी बन गए. This is a great story. Please get into the details. थोड़ा gossip भी दीजिएगा अपने current venture के बारे में.
अच्छा, gossip. You had a recent event where Nas Daily came and spoke. Nas Daily Nusser is one of our investors as well. He is one of our investors. Yeah.
Should have asked him that on the event.
Totally, right? So we have the most amazing investors. We have people like Better Capital from India, who is ranked one of the top seed investors from the country. We have incredible individual investors like Nusser, like Randy Zuckerberg. And what we are doing is building the industry standard for verification in this age of AI. आपने जो fake news का पूछा था, fake stuff is everywhere, whether it is, fake skills, fake certificates, fake awards, and the need for differentiating what is real, what is not, what is human, what is AI is only accelerating. And that's where the Verix platform from Virtualness comes in.
Correct.
Where we are answering the question, is this real, with our AI-powered blockchain platform.
So a related question is going to come थोड़ी देर पहले, but I'm also very interested in ये जो pivot किया आपने, which is literally a pivot. Was it tough? Was planning this pivot very tough for you?
When you say a pivot, are you referring to our journey from being a creator monetization?
And you as well, personally for you as well.
I think as a person, I probably look around and say, what is the hardest thing I haven't done? And I said, chalo, yahi karna hai. And so my journey from being a tech executive with Facebook. So first with India, then I was with Facebook at headquarters at Meta. And then I jumped to becoming the first female investment partner at SoftBank Vision Fund. And there, it was a very different role. Deep Nishar, who was the senior managing partner at SoftBank Vision Fund, who was one of my key sponsors, mentors, he spoke about how on the investing side, when you're building a company, you see one technology transformation in one industry at one point. In the investing side, you see multiple technology. So I had the opportunity to lead SoftBank's first quantum computing investment. Now it's a publicly traded company, $7 billion plus IonQ. Uske liye maine, as part of the diligence, I actually wrote a quantum computing program, a very, very simple, basic one, but just the fact that I was able to write a quantum computing program was a big part of how quantum computing is making its way to being democratized in terms of the access, to do that.
You're not wearing a watch, but I'm sure उसमें 25 दिखाता होगा, 24 कीजिएगा, हम लोगों से तो possible ही नहीं. But you brought the democratization वाला जो part that you just brought up. ये मतलब, is it that important AI का democrat? I'm also asking, I'll give you a context. So there are so many technologies. You just mentioned quantum computing. इसके बारे में no one talks about standardizing it or commoditizing it basically. But everyone wants to democratize AI. Why this much spotlight on AI and ML?
It's a really important question. And if you think about it, actually at this point of time, the number of technology transformations that are happening at one single point of time is unreal and has never happened before. मैंने तो सिर्फ quantum computing बताया. I also led their first additive manufacturing investment, their first mental wellness investment, and then did gaming.
मैं भी एक smart term याद करके आया, climate engineering.
क्या बात है?
Comes सही फैन.
हाँ, बिल्कुल, बिल्कुल. The difference between the two is really how pervasive AI and ML is. It is touching every single person across industries in ways that the other technologies, they're evolving, but there's still, one for quantum, you will start seeing the impact of that, call it in the next 5-7 years on a day-to-day basis, right? Whereas AI, ML is here now impacting every single industry as we know it, every single person as we know it, which is why there is so much attention on AI and ML.
On that, can you give me some example of industries जो let's say 10 to 100 चले गए within a span of let's say like?
Mental wellness is an area that I spend a lot of time focusing on. So there are companies like Spring Health that have really helped shorten the gap and the number of psychiatrists that are available versus the need that is there in the country. How is it that they can use AI to close the gap as well as help with superior matching, which is a really important part of better outcomes in that space. So that's one. Two, I led an investment in Eightfold.ai, which is a talent intelligence platform. And that is a whole space. Anytime you think about skills, people, what AI has done to really exponentially increase. In this case, they have an AI first approach where they take a resume and using a whole bunch of data points, what has someone contributed to GitHub? If this person has worked in Google, what does that really mean? So they build a fuller picture of the resume that leads to better matching and better outcomes. So that's another area that has completely transformed using AI. Skills assessment.
I think उसमें one line of code is missing. My CV gets rejected every time. So वो एक बार just check once.
What you should do, you should pass it through AI to make sure that, but there's a really important point there because actually a lot of tools today, and it goes back to what my company is working on, a lot of tools today will infer things based on what has been said.
Correct.
Job description mein, I want problem solving. Immediately there will be problem solving in the
video editor जिसको graphics भी आते हैं, script भी लिख लेता है.
बिल्कुल, right? And so what we do is actually work with issuing organizations, whether it's a university, whether it's people who do training courses, whether it's people who do internal training, to be able to verify that this person actually did this work, has a proof of accomplishment. And I'll give you two very quick examples. So we work with Netflix right here in India to be able to certify their storytellers as someone who has the skill and be able to credential it and be able to showcase it. We worked with the Mobile Marketing Association. They did a landmark AI and marketing report. Anytime there's a landmark report, everybody says that they contributed to it, right? You know this. But so they recognized the 60 AI expert who truly had contributed to it in a way that is easily socially shareable on social media. And with one click, you can verify it on LinkedIn and other mediums. So that is the kind of platform,
Got it.
the kind of use cases that we have to demonstrate authenticity, which is really important. And so once you start using that, your CV will start bubbling.
It's very much like blockchaining. So you verify at every step before the credential is passed on. So
Totally. And it's immutable, globally verifiable, and shareable. So bas aap take a course with a place that issues Verix verified certificates, that will let your resume
if the
bubble
coupon
up.
code is Kirthiga 50, I will do it today. Also coming to the point, this technological advancements and for companies to adopt, इसमें pain points होंगे for sure. Now time as a resource, money as a resource, ये सब होंगे. So how do companies who are very small, like let's call them SMEs,
Yeah.
जो SMEs हैं, how do ये problems ये लोग कैसे tackle करेंगे? How do they tackle these problems?
One, they
Teething
should-
issues, yeah.
They should be listening to your show and all the content from all the educational content
Social
from
bite
NDTV.
done.
But in all seriousness, the amount of change is overwhelming, and it's overwhelming for people across levels, across industries.
Correct.
And I would say just take the first step, right? Think about the biggest business challenges that you have and use that as an area to explore, are there AI tools and to solve it. I'm huge in the power of community. How is it that you can talk to 5 other people and there's huge solidarity in knowing that everyone is asking the same questions and everyone is having the same challenges, and together you can achieve more and figure out the right solutions for your particular problem.
So this is from this side of the story. But what about CTOs and all who are listening? Like,
Yeah.
This innovation, these technologies, they are rapidly evolving at a pace of groundbreaking per day. How do they keep up?
I actually really think that is the same answer. So I get huge information support from all of my founder groups who are going through some of the same steps in the journey.
Right.
And as much as I've built large businesses before, every time you start something new, you start from zero because you have new tools, new ways of doing things, and you almost have to make sure that you're unlearning and relearning what is best in class and not rest on what is it that you knew from your previous. Of course, you use it as an anchor to accelerate, but the ability to learn is going to be the most important superpower as we go into the next few years.
Also wanted to understand a little bit on this side of the story as well, coming back to it again. I, as a consumer, see a lot of things that AI and ML have brought in. Like, I see a lot of stuff, and these are little things. Like, they're
आपके
not
questions तो भी ChatGPT से आए?
कौन सा वाला?
आपके अभी जो पूछ रहे हो?
ये वाला? ये ChatGPT का नहीं है. This is Gemini. We are on Google.
अच्छा, ठीक है.
So,
Okay.
But what I wanted to understand was how big of a change is it doing to the other side of things for you guys as well? Are this tangible of benefits है कि coding time इतना कम हो रहा है, इतना time save हो रहा है कि इसी को use कर लें? क्योंकि उसके बाद भी आप बैठ के safeguarding वगैरह में थोड़ा time spend कर ही रहे हो.
No, of course. But the amount of leapfrogging that it gives you in every step of the process, whether it is people on the coding side who use different products for jumpstarting their coding, whether it's people thinking about user design, user flows, whether it is people on the marketing side who are using it for getting their ideas and saying optimize it for this platform or that platform. Across every single function, AI is being a huge accelerant. And as they say, one shouldn't be worried about AI replacing your job. You should be worried about your peer who's using AI replacing your job versus AI replacing your job.
Cost का जो implication है, can you help me understand why are companies so aversive when it comes to the cost of computation? Why? Is it this big?
It is big, and there's also scarcity when it comes to those resources available. From a startup perspective, there are every company, whether it's AWS, whether it's Google, there are many opportunities to work with startup programs. So especially for MSMEs, there are many programs. I often feel that there are opportunities that people are not taking advantage of, whether it's free resources, free trading, accelerator programs, cohort-based programs. Companies like AWS, Salesforce, they even give you space to come and code and be matched with their experts on a particular problem. So the opportunities are there, the knowledge is there, the resources is there. It's really ours, each of ours, and everyone listening to take advantage of that. Yeah. And of course, listen to your show.
Social media by 2 done. So money talk is very serious. Let's take a fun little breather.
Okay.
Is data different for me, the consumer, and you know, the business owner? Do you guys look at data differently? I don't even look at data what it is. I enter my email ID jahan mil jaye.
Okay. So one, as a consumer, एक बार देख लेना कि where you're putting your data.
मैं fake ही डालता हूँ.
Which is why we need tools like Verix to make sure we can distinguish what is real and what is fake. But I think all platforms have to take consumer data and very, very seriously in terms of how it's handled, what is the transparency around where it's accessed, what is the accountability, what are the controls in place. And I think back to your question of regulation, I do think that this is a place where regulation also helps with the right checks and balances on the data side.
Essentially, जो मैं मजाक भी कर रहा था, but it's actually true. There is a lot of noise in data when you get it, which means this also is another added resource that you must be tackling. So how do you handle this noise? Like, how do you pick out कि ये सही data versus everything that is noise?
So this is going to be one of the largest both opportunities as well as challenges. And you have a number of startups that are helping you make sense of all of the different data. And sometimes it's also just siloed data. How do you bring it together in one central repository, do the matching, and get to a consistent source of data? And then there's the other aspect of what we at Virtualness and Verix work with, which is, you know, among all of that data, what are the trusted data points that have that verifiability and that blockchain-based immutability that helps you go that extra step? You can't do it for everything, but for things that really matter, like proof of skills, work, accomplishments, awards, you know, you should be using it for all of your events as well. We just partnered with Bangalore Tech Summit as well as Thai Global Summit, where, you know, we had tens of thousands of credentials being issued. And that becomes a way for people to really distinguish, recognize, celebrate, and digitally share all of what they're doing. And again, moments that matter.
When you guys have this meeting quarterly and annually, is predicting these technological trends, is it a big discussion? Is it a part of the discussion?
हम लोग ChatGPT यूज करते हैं और Gemini भी यूज करते हैं. No, I'm just kidding.
मैं co-pilot भी करता हूँ. जीत गए NDTV.
क्या बात? Okay. No, it is, you know, you have to be able to project where the puck is going, you know, where is technology going? Because if you're just building things based on where things are right now, you're already behind. So you have to be able to make strategic bets on where things are going to be 6 months from now, 12 months from now, 2 years from now, and make investments accordingly.
Not all trends come true.
Yeah.
For SMEs, it might get very difficult to then pivot around and make it a success story. Any tips for them before, you know, just jumping deep dive into a technology and let's say the prediction goes wrong?
You know, the biggest thing that I would say is don't do technology for technology's sake. Okay?
Oh.
Like, look at what are the business problems you have. Where is it that you want to drive the most efficiency? If you are having challenges in marketing materials, right, there are a set of tools that you can use to really drive the ROI around that. And make it data driven, like make small investments, see what the ROI is, and then make your next investment, and then make your next investment. Have a big vision.
Right.
For sure, have a big vision, but take steps towards the way and use data to guide your journey.
जैसा आपने बोला, keep unlearning to, you know, keep learning every day.
Indeed.
Last couple of questions.
हाँ जी.
बहुत छोटे-छोटे से two last couple of questions.
Okay.
एक तो बहुत simple
says that I have to be.
So in an increasing digital world, जो हमारे business transactions है वो तो faceless हो गए हैं. You know, I do transactions to a screen. How do you bring in trust? How do you bring in reliability? How do you bring in, you know, like basically all these जो human factors हुआ करते थे कि मेरा TV खराब हो गया तो यहाँ इससे जाके करना है, तो how does that work?
So there is, again, this is one of the biggest areas of investment is verifiability, including in LinkedIn, for example, is beginning to verify and validate the recruiters, because there was a huge issue about fake recruiters posting jobs, getting confidential information has a huge impact, right? How is it that you can have that added level of verification? And you will see that continuing to increase, all the way to boxes that are being delivered through e-commerce. How do you make sure that it is tamper-proof? And I'll give you one other example of really fun partnership. We had a partnership with Indri. I hope you have, Indri. If not, please make sure that you get one. Yeah. So when they did their limited edition with Game of Thrones, they had 100,000 bottles that were limited edition, Game of Thrones edition. Each of their bottles has a QR code that if you scan, takes you to
genuine
and
yeah,
tells
got it,
you
got it.
that is genuine, right? So across all elements, whether it's people, whether it's products, this need for is it real is only going to continue to grow, and there are a variety of technologies, including what we are doing, that are going to help solve that.
Absolute last question.
Yes.
Government and policing authorities, unko agar side rakh dein, should companies, that make these digital products, they be invested in time, in money, in resources about ensuring कि customers का जो trust है, उसकी जो एक authenticity है, उसका जो dependability है, जो trust factor है, वो भी रहे. Like, should these three be part of a dialogue जहाँ से verification and fact checking ये सब चीजें होनी चाहिए?
I want to make sure that I'm understanding your question. If your question is, yes, government, police will make sure that there is consumer trust at heart.
And fraud detection.
Let's add fraud detection to it. And if your question is, should companies be investing in that?
Yes.
The answer is 1000% yes, right? I think as an industry, we need to get better about thinking about what is the worst case that can happen when someone uses this technology, and what are the safeguards that you can put in place, because consumer trust is everything. Trust is everything, and verification goes hand in hand with that ability to drive trust.
Correct, makes sense. But anyways, thank you so much for your time. I mean, you told me about the flight that you have to catch. Otherwise, I had 1,000 other questions. Chat GPT to tha. But anyways, thank you so much for your time, and please enjoy your trip. Pleasure speaking to you.
Such a pleasure being here, always.